everybody. Kathy Tooley, good to have you back to our YouTube video channel today. Today we're going to talk about, I call it the difficult conversation. The difficult conversation. This is the one where that student has finally pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed. Assuming any of you watching this have that student. Maybe you don't. But let's just assume that you have. How do you have that difficult conversation? And what I mean by the difficult conversation is the conversation where their behavior is no longer acceptable. And they either get to turn and go another direction, or we're going to have some problems. Now, how to enroll parents in that conversation, we've got a whole nother video for that. So feel free if you're watching this thinking, I get that, Kathy, but I also need to talk to the parents. Check out one of our other YouTube channel videos on parent conversations. But this one is really speaking about the student. So I want to refer you over to my handy dandy document camera. Does this sound familiar to anyone? Anyone ever had a student say anything like this to you, like, everyone else is doing it. I didn't do it. I didn't do it. It was Johnny. It was Susie. It was Billy. It was Bobby. I didn't do it. Why are you picking on me? Right? Anyone ever heard that? If you teach kindergarten for more than 25 minutes, you've heard that one. Why me? Why me? And this is my personal favorite. High school teachers, we live in this world. What did I do? When they have their cell phone out and you are saying, put your cell phone away, and they say, what cell phone? Or when their mouth is moving and they're talking and you tell them to quit talking and they say, I wasn't talking. I know some of you are laughing because you're thinking, she's been in my classroom. No, I've just been in one of my own for many, many years. So we're going to talk about how do you do that? 3 steps. Ready? Step number 1. Say this. You have chosen to do insert behavior. So let's use one of my favorite, because I got in trouble for this a couple of times in life and school. I know this is going to shock some of you, but guess what? I used to get in trouble for talking. I know, it's shocking. And you know what I laughingly say? Now I make a living at doing it. God has such a sense of humor. So let's use that one. Talking when I shouldn't have been. You have chosen to continue talking, or you have chosen to not be quiet, whichever one you want to choose. And as a result of your choice, blank is going to happen. So let me give you a full one. Kathy, you have chosen to not stop talking during lecture when I've asked you multiple times. Therefore, you get to earn yourself a detention as a choice of your actions. Let's do another one. Susie. I know I always pick on poor Johnny and Susie, so any Johnny and Susie watching this video, I always apologize. Susie, you have chosen to not do your homework and to not bring it in. Therefore, detention is a result of your choice. Not having materials for class, right? No pencil, no paper, no book. Now there's a whole separate conversation I could have of just providing them, but let's just go there for an argument's sake. Insert child's name. You have chosen to not have your materials. And therefore, a loss of recess, an extra assignment, a whatever, insert discipline behavior here is a result of your choice. I want you to notice I bolded those words for a purpose. We need to start teaching children that discipline is not something you're doling out. It is something that their behavior, their choice is earning. So you aren't just this meanie. You are simply giving, in many ways, what they asked for. Got it? So this statement, I want you to write it down, memorize it, use it. It will feel clunky a little bit at first, but then it rolled off my back. I don't know how many times I've said, Susie, I've asked you to be on time to my class, and you know what on time means. Therefore, you've just earned yourself an after-school 30-minute detention based on your choice. I always finished it with based on your choice, but I taught high school kids. Johnny, I've asked you 4 times now. This is your 3rd warning on blank, and therefore an after-school detention is now a result of your choice. But to hear what I'm using, result of your choice, result of your choice, result of your choice, result of your choice. Not, I am giving this to you. You and your behavior have earned this. Okay? Step 2. No matter what, do not argue. I never understand. I struggle with why you're arguing with a child. Of course they're not going to say, you've given me a detention. Thank you. Thank you. My life is more complete because you have given me a detention. Of course they're angry. I would be angry. I got angry all the time when I got in trouble for talking, and I used to think it's not my fault. My parents, we talk a lot. But when they start to argue, you know what I want you to do? When they start to argue, I want you to do step 3. Say it again. Say it again. So when they start to say, but I wasn't talking, but my homework was there, the dog ate it, I lost it, it was on the bus, you're going to say, Johnny, you've chosen, though, to not have that homework here in front of me today. Maybe it's in Fido's tummy, but I don't have it in front of me today. And therefore, as a result of that choice, blank is going to happen. So I always use these steps and say, this is the most critical. Don't do this one. And second verse, same as the verse. Just keep repeating it. And you'll just keep repeating it until they'll stop. I've sometimes, listen, I've had high school students, I've told you that, who would spend a little bit of time on this. And what they're really looking for here is, will you back off? If I keep pushing, will you back off? And I will go to step 3, which is second verse, same as the first. Now, I've got a few what I'm going to call tidbits, things that I want you to keep remembering, but this is the meat of this. I want you to make sure you've got this, snap a picture of this video, write this down. This is the meat of it. But here's a couple take froms. Everybody got that one? Here's a couple things I want you to remember. At the end of the day, remember, it's all about choice. You are not doling out some punishment. You did not take a shower this morning and brush your teeth saying, I think I'm going to give Johnny a detention today. But they did that, and therefore you are forced to make that choice as well. That you have classroom management, you have rules for which they must abide by, and therefore, if they're not going to abide by them, you get to make your choices as well. Question, don't assume. Question. If in their argument, if I say, I'm going to give you a detention because you didn't have your homework, and they say, well, my mom died last night. Ever had that situation? I have. Then I'm going to question things. And I might find out if that's actually true. And if I do, I might change my mind. Because remember, we too are humans, and we didn't know that last night. So when in doubt, question, don't assume. This is one of my favorites. Don't take the bait. They're kids. Their job is to get you to not give them whatever punishment you were getting ready to give them. And I'm always astounded where teachers are like, they're trying to get out of that attention. Of course they are. Wouldn't you? I would. I tried many times. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. I don't ever get pulled over by a police officer and say, oh, thank you, dear police officer, for the ticket. I try to get myself talked out of it. And so I'm always astounded when we take their bait. And one of the baits that often works is tears. I had a detention. My mom's gonna kill me. She's not gonna really kill her. Don't take the bait. Don't get enrolled in their story. Don't get into the, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry you're upset. Well, of course they are. This one's a big one. Don't say because I told you so. Don't say things like, I said you shouldn't do that. I told you not to do that. I said sit down. I said be on time. Ready? This ain't about you, princess. It's about them. And we have opportunities as educators to educate every single minute. And this is an opportunity for students from as little as 5 to as old as seniors in high school to learn that their behaviors and their choices have causes. They have effects. If they learn that young, we may not be in some of where we are today in today's society. So keep emphasizing words that don't say things like, I'm giving you attention. Keep it about them and their behavior. Remember that one we just talked about? Don't take the bait. Don't take the bait when they push that button, and they know where that button is. They have discovered that button on you, and they're just waiting, and they're going beep, 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 beep. Don't do it. Keep it about them and about their behavior. We've talked about this many times, and you're going to hear me refer to it a lot. Invite, don't demand. Don't say things like, you will be at that detention tomorrow night. No, they don't have to be. They don't. Go back to the choice and say you've now earned yourself a detention. I, matter of fact, used to have a jokingly thing about my detentions and say, and you win a quality 1 hour after school with me, you, me, quality time. Quality time. And I know some of you watching this video are saying, you were being a smart aleck. No, I'm not being a smart aleck. I don't think spending an hour with me is a horrible time. Some of you are still sitting on this video, so you don't either. So I just want them to understand that, look, I'm not mad. It's okay. Come on. We're going to serve this detention together. We're going to move on. Because when they're sitting there for their detention, guess who else is sitting there? Me. So we may as well make it a pleasant experience. This is always my favorite. I love it when I hear teachers saying this. Are you questioning my authority? So ready? Some of you, zoom in real quick. Ready? This is going to be an eye-opener. Yes, they are. They are questioning your authority. Of course they're questioning your authority. Because for some kids, they don't have an authority figure in their life. They don't have anyone who's holding their feet to the fire. And so they're looking at you and an almost, who do you think you are? Remember the one we talked about a few minutes ago? Don't take the bait. You know who you are. And so when they question your authority and say, well, why do we have to do this? And do you think that that's necessary? You're going to say, right back to the same thing. Because you chose not to do this, this is a result of your choice. Of course they're questioning your authority. And I never understand it when a teacher says, are you questioning my authority? So ready? For every teacher that will ever say, are you questioning my authority? Because clearly that's a question you want answered. Ready? Yes, they're questioning your authority. Yes. So anytime you want to say, are you questioning me? Do you not understand who's a teacher? They do understand, and they are questioning you, because that's what we want them to do. We want them to question and to think. Next one, a couple more. Watch words that are perceived as attacks. Because remember, when we attack people, what do people do? If you're attacked, what's the first thing you do? I get defensive. You want to attack me? I'll attack back. Because energy meets energy. And if I'm nasty, nasty is what you're going to get back. So if you're nasty with an attack, they're going to go one up. You're going to have to go one up. They're going to go one up. At some point, who's the adult in the room? And trust me as I tell those of you watching this video, I have felt the hair on the back of my neck stand up when a kid's talking to me. And you know what keeps running through my mind? They are a child. They are a child. I'm an adult. They are a child. I'm an adult. They're a child. I'm an adult. So I'm going to stay in an adult vocabulary. I'm not going to attack because it's not going to do anybody any good. Next to the last one, always make sure that your attacks aren't about the person. Once again, that we are attacking the issue, not the person. Stay away from statements that might feel personal. I never liked it. Listen, I was a talker. My mother laughingly says that I came out of the womb talking. I could sit in a square room, name all four corners, and talk to them. But you don't need to say that to me. Saying things like, Kathy, do you ever shut up? That's not necessary. Because I did have a period of time in my childhood where I thought that talking was bad and that I needed to be quiet more. Remember, every word we say, we're writing on the slate of the souls of these children. So be careful that you're attacking the issue. So my good teachers taught me that my talking was fine, but my talking in the middle of them trying to give a lesson, not so fine. My enthusiasm is great, But my enthusiasm when someone is really upset and sad, not appropriate. My exuberance to life and my willing to talk about anything is beautiful. But when somebody else doesn't understand and the teacher's trying to explain it to them, my domineering that conversation isn't appropriate. Those were the good teachers. Those are the teachers that learned that they attacked the issue of it really wasn't about how boisterous I was, how chatty I was, how much I loved to talk. It was about the situation of when I was inappropriately using my voice. So be careful that you're attacking the situation, watching things that can be perceived like you never do your homework. You're never on time. Stay away from statements that will be viewed as attacks, because we already talked about that. When you attack, what happens? I'm going to get defensive. Here's the last one, and this is one that I want you to get a bath in. I want you to just become one with this. Don't ever yell, scream, or raise your voice. The moment you do, that child is in charge. And you are the tail wagging the dog, not the dog wagging the tail. Now, have I ever had to raise my voice to call attention to a class? Sure. Said things like, hey, let's go. That's different. But I have never, and I am proud to say this, in 30 years at a brick and mortar building, raised my voice to a child. Because when you are raising your voice to a child, you are out of control. And you need to check yourself. Now, have I had things? Tell you a funny story. One time my daughter thought it would be entertaining. She found scissors. And she thought it would be fun to not only cut her brother's hair, which was bad enough the day before pictures, but she cut my curtains, my couch, and the carpet. And I remember walking out of that living room and saying, and she was so proud, looky, mommy. And I said, I'm going to need you to run, not walk, run to your room right now and close the door. Run now, go to your room. And she ran to her room, not with the scissors, of course, because I knew in that moment I wasn't capable of saying what I needed to say. Because I wanted to say things like, how stupid are you? Why would you cut up my furniture? How dare you? We don't have the money to replace this carpet. Why would you do that? And I knew that I would be writing on the slate of my soul and on her soul. And what she'd really done was just create artwork with my curtain and my couch and my carpet. I've had students say things to me, and the moment they said it, I felt the hair on the back of my neck stand up. I know you've had that situation, right? What I've said is, I'm going to need you to step away right now. We are not going to have this conversation right now. Sit down. And when they say, but Mr. We are not going to have this conversation right now. But Mr. We are not going to have this conversation right now. We are not going to have this conversation. Hear what I'm doing? Do you hear my voice go up? Because I know right now my voice is not going up because I'm not going to yell or scream or raise my voice. But I know right now I am incapable of having an adult. And remember, I'm the adult. They're the child. When you yell and scream and raise your voice, you have absolutely shifted the authority in your room. And you've let kids know that these are your buttons, which will make you yell, scream, and raise your voice. So guess what they're going to do to those buttons? Bing, 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 bing. They're going to push them all the time. And you're wondering, why does that kid always know that? Because you literally took that coat and went, these are my buttons. Come push them. So never, 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 never a trillion times ever raise your voice, scream, or yell. So hopefully that's been helpful to you to have those conversations when those kids are starting to go awry, if you're having that in your room. As always, I have a couple of favors. Would you mind subscribing to our channel so that you could be a part of future videos that we're going to continue to do and provide you resources in the classroom? And please tag this and share your fellow educators if you think it could be beneficial. And as always, I leave you with a thank you. Thank you for what you're doing every single day to make a difference in the lives of our kids. Have a good day.